Japanese boxers are ruthless, fighting on the front foot, showing extreme aggression and using explosive movements to suffocate opponents. Inoue's victory over the Mexican Cardenas underlined this. Despite being knocked down in the second, the Japanese fighter showed a willingness to trade, standing in the pocket before unleashing a barrage of punches to secure the win. With Devin Haney's lackluster win over Ramirez only a day prior having fans questioning the heart and motivation of modern day boxers, it left a glimmer of hope. With the old adage of styles make fights ringing true, in line with Japan's and Mexico's aggressive techniques, I believe boxing has just stumbled upon a goldmine. So let's investigate the historical track record of when Japan's boxers confronted Mexican fighters before examining why this matchup can revive boxing today. Please leave a like for that pesky algorithm. The rivalry began years ago. Fighting Harada lost a tight split decision to Mexico's Edmundo Esparza on the 14th of June 1962 in Chiajuan, enraging many Japanese and foreign onlookers. The flame was further ignited in 1963 with Harada assaulting the Mexican Jose Medel for round after round. Yet disaster struck when a right from Medel found its way through, leading to Harada hitting the canvas 3 times. The fight was stopped. Were Mexico simply Japan's kryptonite? But the Asian nation would fight back resolutely. Hiroyuki Ebihara would beat Alcaran Torres in the 1964 Olympic Games, an extremely close decision which saw Mexican fans respond by throwing debris, setting fire to seats, and even knock over cement walls. The rivalry was truly alive. Harada would have his revenge against Jose Medel, beating him after 15 grueling rounds by unanimous decision in 1967. But the Japanese were not done, and this one would hurt Mexico. On December the 12th, 1970, the country's boxing legend Vicente Saldivar would suffer a crushing defeat to Kanaki Shibata. As the fight descended into a close-range brawl, Shibata held his nerve, sinking Saldivar in front of his adoring fans in Tijuana. This would set up a decade of brutal back and forths, with each country trading scalps. In October 1971, Mexican legend Ruben Olivares knocked out Japanese Kazuyoshi Kanazawa in a rematch in Japan. After 14 brutal rounds, in which each fighter refused to take a step back, Kanazawa effectively collapsed from exhaustion. But it wasn't just in the ring where this rivalry was flourishing. Anime spoiler inbound.
わしはもう何も言うことはない。本当によ、やった。ジョー。燃えたよ。燃え尽きた。真っ白にな。
In a snapshot which has been immortalised in manga folklore, Joe Yabuki slumped on his stool before succumbing to his injuries. But who was his opponent? Mexico's Jose Mendoza. His win over Yabuki would signify a titanic struggle, yet it came at a cost. As far back as the 1970s, the Japanese evidently recognised Mexicans as worthy adversaries. In 1974, Kutz Ishimatsu showed the perils of trading with Japanese fighters as he brutally knocked out Rodolfo Gonzalez in Tokyo. Meanwhile, in June 1980, Lupe Pintor fought Ejiro Murata in a war of attrition, leading to a split decision draw. Many actually felt Murata should have been awarded the victory. A renowned slugger like Pintor had come to Japan and been outslugged. With many Western boxers wilting under the aggressive Mexican style, the Japanese showed that standing your ground and trading could pay dividends. Throughout the rest of the decade, storied matchups including Yoko Gushiken's win and loss to Mexico's Pedro Flores, Jiro Watanabe's victory over Roberto Ramirez, and Tsuyoshi Hamada's wars against Rene Arredondo ensured this rivalry lived on. This ongoing ongoing battle was further serialized in manga's Hajime no Ippo from 1989. Ricardo Martinez is the undefeated WBA featherweight super champion and #1 pound for pound. The Mexican is described as having immeasurable and otherworldly boxing ability, with his brawling style giving Japanese boxers like AJ Dates and Ippo Macanucci serious problems. The manga writers actually based Martinez on Ricardo Lopez, a Mexican legend who retired with a record of 51 wins and 1 draw, including the scalps of Japanese boxers Hideyuki Ohashi and Kimio Hirano. Hajime writer George Morikawa evidently understands the merits of the Japanese-Mexican rivalry. The Never Say Die brawling style is simply cinema in a real-life context, and anime recognized its potential early. In the 1990s, Hiroshi Kawashima's right-hand dominant southpaw style overcame Mexican pugilists like Jose Luis Bueno and Cecilio Espino. Katsuya Onizuka's convincing win against Armando Castro further cemented the notion of Japan being a thorn in the North American country's side. But you see, the Japanese could draw upon something which the Mexican pugilists always had in reserve: immense grit. Mexicans' willingness to absorb punishment, stand in the pocket, and trade largely comes from the determination to overcome poverty and secure a future for themselves and their family. Japan tends to have a higher standard of living and less poverty generally, so where does the motivation to fight on the inside like a man possessed come from? Japan's adherence to the Bushido Code is likely key here. Based upon the samurai doctrine, believing that a fighter must hold bravery, honour and personal loyalty above life itself probably cultivates this mindset. Additionally, the commitment to gaman, translated as perseverance and tolerance, weighs heavy. It's a concept deeply ingrained in Japanese society, encouraging many to keep their personal struggles hidden. Sadly, this partly explains the high suicide rate, yet it guarantees absolute commitment to your craft, whether a doctor or boxer. The Japanese are willing to suffer to achieve greatness, much like the Mexicans. Katsunari Takayama embodied such mentality, defeating Mexicans Isaac Bustos and Mario Rodriguez in the mini flyweight divisions. Hozumi Hasegawa was a similar Mexico killer, taking the crowns of Juan Carlos Burgos and Hugo Ruiz convincingly. Since 2014, Naoya Inoue has been sinking Mexicans' dreams, with standout victories over Adrian Hernandez, Luis Neri, and now Cardenas. Inoue perfectly embodies the Japanese fighting style, in my view at least, so let's break it down before comparing it to that of Mexicans. The style is intense, based around blitzing opponents through using explosive movements to quickly close the gap. Characterised by being forward-moving and extremely aggressive, the style is a bit of a blend between brawling and solid fundamentals with consistent jabs. With its pugilists often inhabiting the lower weight divisions, they rely upon speed and agility, utilising the in and out pendulum movements, but often throwing hooks and uppercuts instead of straight punches. Japan is a health-conscious place, boasting the lowest obesity rates and prioritising fitness and cardio. Forward fighting capability is based upon elite conditioning, meaning Japan's fighters sustain ridiculous levels of output even into the latter stages of testing bouts. Conversely, Mexican boxers are not trained in amateur point scoring techniques like jabbing and moving. Instead, they focus on explosive power and wearing down opponents before going for the knockout. Hard sparring and the need to sell tickets teach them pressure fighting, as fans demand consistent action and will boo if a fight slows or lacks intensity, ultimately crafting these warriors into brutal killers. Like the Japanese, they are well accustomed to fighting in the pocket, trading blows at will. They are normally also in excellent condition, ensuring the output is top tier. Now, the benefits of witnessing clashes between these styles are evident. In 2015, Francisco Vargas's all-out war with Takashi Miura secured Ring Magazine's Fight of the Year. Takeshi Inoue's loss to Jamie Munguia was highly rated by fans in entertainment terms, while Omar Figueroa's victory over Arakawa was deemed a classic. Essentially, when you get two boxers in the ring that are prepared to go out on their shield, there's fireworks. It's a real shame as, in the West at least, higher weight fighters are given most of the limelight. the lower weight categories are effectively ignored by the mainstream, meaning that we miss out on many of these incredible matchups. With Japanese-Mexican fights predominantly taking place in Japan, a mixture of the awkward time difference and the fact that many fights take place on Tuesdays also hinders the promotional reach. On the 28th of May, Mexico's Eduardo Nunes will take on Rikishi, while Nishida will face Reyes in the bantamweight category. By the time this video is out, the two bouts will have taken place, but I predict that Nishida versus Reyes will be an absolute stormer. Will it be another example of Mexicans realizing the danger of engaging Japanese brawlers on the inside? Like when Agi Cortez recognized the dangers against Junto Nakatani in late 2023. I've made this video to address the lack of insight and material into one of boxing's most interesting rivalries. As noted, the West rarely pays much attention to the domestic scene in Japan and Mexican pugilism, but hopefully that will begin to change. Inoue's success is certainly driving far more interest in my opinion, though recent years have probably seen the Mexicans edging the rivalry. Through examining the history, we start to see how perilous it can be to rush into range against the Japanese. A combination of insane heart and a willingness to trade blows on the inside has seen them combat Mexico's advantages to a fair degree. But now I'd like to hear what you guys think. What are your favourite Mexican-Japanese matchups? Have I missed anything in my analysis of this storied rivalry? I'm interested to hear your opinions down in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. It really does mean the most. We're within touching distance of 30,000 subscribers, which is just honestly incredible. More content will be on its way soon. See you soon. Cheers.